Hello again. First and foremost, I'd like to start off by addressing directly one of the points that the second negative speaker brought up, and that automation would be enhanced by raising the minimum wage. I countered with this piece from an author named Paul Davidson in an article he wrote for USA Today called "Automation Could Kill 73 Million U.S. Jobs by 2030." And in his quote, he says that automation could destroy as many as 73 million U.S. jobs by 2030, but economic growth, rising productivity, and other forces could more than offset these losses. Now, what does that mean? It means that basically, because of the way the economy is moving, automation's already happening. It's on track to take up 73 million U.S. jobs. It's an accepted fact. If we raise the minimum wage, there's no guarantee that companies will increase the rate at which they are automating. McDonald's and Carl's Jr. have already rolled out plans to eliminate tellers and replace it with an order screen. These companies aren't being forced to pay a higher minimum wage, yet they're already automating their systems. There's no guarantee that because the minimum wage increases, these companies will automate at a quicker rate than they currently are. Now, secondly, I'd like to point out the fact that minimum wage will increase unemployment. I counter with this study conducted by Michael Reich, Sylvia Allegretto, and Claire Montialu for the Institute for Research on Labor and Unemployment, published by University of California, Berkeley. They say that our estimate projects a very small increase in employment growth relative to what would occur without the increase, raising employment by 0.1% by 2023. There's actually a raise in employment after an increase in the minimum wage. Now, do with that information what you will, but I find that it to be a rather telling argument for our side. Another point I'd like to bring up is from the same study by Reich, Allegretto, and Montialu, that employers can actually afford an increase in the minimum wage. Quote, employee turnover reduction, automation, and increases in worker productivity would offset some of these payroll cost increases. Businesses could absorb the remaining payroll cost increase by increasing prices by 0.6% through 2023, which is well below the inflation rate of 1.8% currently in the United States. Now, finally, I would like to end on this note. There are uncountable benefits, there are innumerable benefits from increasing the minimum wage. According to this same study, downstream benefits such as improved health and increases in children's school achievement and cognitive and behavioral outcomes. It's a simple fact that when people are less stressed, they're healthier. If you're not as stressed out about what am I going to eat tonight, what am I going to do, how am I going to pay for my kids' winter clothing, you're going to have a healthier lifestyle. Children perform better when there's not economic anxiety in their households. Raising the minimum wage is truly one of the most humanitarian things we can do for these reasons and many more. Is that 4?
3. You've got 1 more minute if you want it.
I would absolutely love to. I like talking. So, another point that the opposition brought up is that increasing the minimum wage would overall be a negative for Americans. But I'd like to bring up a study published by Benjamin Harris and Melissa Kearney called "The Ripple Effect of a Minimum Wage Increase on American Workers" and Brookings.edu. They state that increasing the minimum wage would result in higher wages not only for the 3.7 million people earning minimum wage, but also for up to 35 million workers who make up to 150% of the minimum wage. So that means people who make up twice or 2.5% as much, or 2.5 times as much as the federal minimum wage, would benefit from an increase in